Hello everybody, this is Anthony, to be honest, with yet another episode of the Conover. In this episode, I am joined by one of our new people that has recently joined the Mission Star podcast. She goes by the name of JD. Say hello, JD.
Hi!
And special guest with a very deep voice, we have Dean.
Hello.
And they're here to talk about everything Sack anime that happened about a week and a half ago. By the time you listen to this podcast, I'm not quite sure when that will be, but yeah, definitely it happened. You guys went and experienced it. So my first question to you guys is, what year is this for you for Sack anime in terms of attending?
It is my fourth or fifth year. I started going when it was still at the old one, the Radisson.
Oh, the Radisson.
Yeah, so I started, so whenever the last one at the Radisson was my first one. So 2, 3.
Oh,
3.
Okay, cool, awesome. Same question for you, Dean.
It was about 2 years ago, but the con happens twice a year, so I think it's my fifth time going, fourth or fifth.
Gotcha. Okay. So because for me, because I said it prior on this podcast in previous Conover episodes, but my history with Sack anime is I've been covering a convention for like about 10 years.
Veteran.
Yeah, I've been taking a long break from going to Sack anime, but we have some people who cover it for MSP. So I often am curious to see what is it like over there. It's kind of like it's like going away on a desert island and you come back to see what exactly has changed. It's kind of like that for me. So for you guys who went, what were some of the things that stood out to you at Sack anime?
For me, a huge thing that stood out was they, once again, expanded the convention space. So not only were they using the Sacramento Convention Center, they were also using the Memorial Auditorium for some of their events as well, and that was like super cool.
Okay. Was it in any way inconvenient of a walk to get from one place to another?
I mean, it's like across the street.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, like, it's across the street and like kind of like down a block. But it really isn't like that far of a journey.
Okay. Dean, what stood out to you for Sack anime?
I would have to agree. It was it keeps expanding.
It's like a glob.
Not only in because they freed up a lot of space at the center by moving it to the memorial. They actually expanded the vendors hall.
Yeah.
So it was just
It was
gigantic.
twice as big, pretty much.
Interesting. So they're expanding the dealers hall and they're trying to space out not only the convention center itself, but the area around it.
They're trying to take over Sacramento, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. That is interesting to hear. So you guys said that the dealers hall was bigger. If you were to guesstimate, like, how much bigger you would compare it to last time, like last year or last time you guys were there at Sack anime, like, how would you, like, are we talking about another, like, 20, 30 feet, or just guesstimation?
I'm going to say, like, plus half the size.
Oh, wow, are you serious?
Like, I mean, it was seriously a lot bigger. What they did was the dealer's hall and main events were kind of separated by, like, a partition.
Mm-hmm.
In previous cons, because they moved main events to the Memorial Auditorium, they took down that partition and used what would be used for the masquerade, the opening and closing ceremonies, and they used that for the dealer's hall and some autographs and stuff like that. But it was all one big, gigantic
So
room.
it might have actually doubled in size.
It was huge.
So, wait, so does that mean, like, the convention center itself is just merely there for the sake of the dealer's hall?
The bottom story, yes. pretty
Yeah,
much.
I would say like the bottom, like when you enter into the convention center for SAC Anime, pretty much the first floor is just going to be the lobby kind of area, and then mainly the dealer's hall, artist alley.
Oh wow, that's nuts. So, okay, if that's the case, then I can assume ups. Oh, let me retract that. Where are they holding the panels then?
All panels were done on the third floor, and
And
a
some on the
few
second.
on the second.
But because they expanded and they changed where they held some of the autographs,
Mm-hmm.
it freed up a lot of rooms for panels to be held in.
I see.
So it actually, what happened with the convention space is because they rearranged it, it made it so much, they were able to do so much more with the space, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Interesting.
IMO.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm curious also, were they also using the hotel for other events as well? Because the last time I remember they're using the convention center and the hotel for like any other panels and events that they're holding as well. And I think the gaming rooms also in
Yeah.
the hotel as
Yeah.
well.
The gaming rooms, viewing rooms, swap meet, registration,
Lost and Found.
lost and found, stuff like that, all really used in the Sheraton.
I see. Okay, so you're still using both the hotel and the convention center.
Yeah, it's still very back and forth.
That is interesting to hear that the fact that they're that main first floor is just a big dealer's hall.
Yeah.
It makes sense too because I keep hearing that they're trying to be like a Comic-Con. They're trying to have that type of atmosphere. So that makes sense. But wow, that's crazy. In terms of some of the events and panels, speaking of that were happening there, what were the things you guys checked out when you were there?
Well, I like to go mainly for the voice actors, so I go to a lot of the voice acting panels. The first one I went to was Halo, and
Sick, awesome.
yeah, it was good to see, the Chief and Cortana there together, and a lot of the panels, especially over the weekend, the rooms were completely full, and they had to trickle in people as people were leaving, just because it was a fire hazard.
Well, I'm not surprised, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. How big were the panel rooms, by the way?
Oh.
I mean, it depended on what panel room you went to, kind of. I went to a few panels, some cosplay panels, and they weren't small by any means, but they were smaller, on the smaller side. I don't know how to say it, but like, they weren't as big as some of the other panels, I think.
Okay, I see.
Room-wise.
I see. Okay. In terms of that's interesting. In terms of for you, JD, what were some of the panels and events you checked out when you were there at Tech Anime?
I went to a panel called Extreme Costume Wearing, and it was held. I forgive me, I don't know her name. It was held by a few cosplayers, and that one was super awesome. I always love going for the cosplay panels because they're so informative. It's like taking like a college seminar on cosplay. Like, you learn so much. I also went to another one about the fabrics for cosplay, and also they were so professional. They had like PowerPoints and all this other stuff. The professionalism of it is just super amazing. And then I also went to main events, the K-pop battles, cosplay masquerade, stuff like that.
Yeah, K-pop was awesome.
Awesome. What happened in the K-pop panel?
So it was held in the Memorial Auditorium, and the architecture there is amazing. Like, you're pretty much blown away, like, right when you walk in. But essentially, like, what happened was they had already pre-auditioned, 10?
I think 10 groups.
10 groups or solo performers, and they basically just performed some really cool K-pop dances.
Nice. Awesome.
And it was super talented.
Yeah.
Cool. It's pretty awesome. I was actually going to ask Dean. I forgot to. Sorry to cut you off earlier, but so you know what's funny, and I probably should. I have the in right here. I can look at it right now. But like, I have never like seen the face of the voice actor of Master Chief. Like, what does he look like?
Well, he's an older gentleman. He's probably in his late 50s, maybe early 60s. He looks just kind of like an average Joe, which maybe is what Bungie was going for when they created Master Chief. But his voice is the exact same. That is his regular voice.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and the same with Cortana too. It's her voice. Like they didn't change a thing.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. I'll probably look it up later on, but like I've always been curious about that. Like I remember when I bought like Halo 2 with the collector's edition, it came with the behind the scenes video, and it had like a small clip of just like his lower face as he's speaking.
Yeah.
Just the mic. And he's always hitting. It's like
I remember that.
I'm always curious about what does it look like.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's pretty awesome. So you guys are there for the whole weekend, I assume, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my next question would be the cosplays. What were some cosplays that stood out to you, or which particular cosplay that kind of made you had a double take or triple take even?
There was an amazing Digimon group.
Nice.
Oh my god, their costumes were like so intense, and I think like the main ones that stood out to me, there were so many big and like crazy. I don't know, like they were just big. There was like this 8-foot Titan.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's been around. I mean, he's an awesome cosplayer, and he's gone to SAC animes before with his Titan. There was like a few.
There's a Predator and some
Yeah.
Xenomorphs.
Oh yeah. And they're always
there.
I mean, they always like super scare me, but I think they're pretty cool at the same time.
Yeah, one of the Xenomorphs was going up to people who weren't paying attention.
That was me.
And he had an extendo tongue
Did that to me.
that came out.
Did that to me.
That's great.
I was just like walking along in my Jinx costume, and all of a sudden, like looking at my phone, all of a sudden I look up, there's like a tongue in my face. And, like, it was all downhill from there. Nothing really happened, but I think cosplay at SAC Anime is like, it's like a kind of like a dress code. I mean, like, not in like the sense like you have to wear cosplay to go, but in the sense like everyone wants to dress up, even if it's just like a yellow t-shirt and they're like, I'm Pikachu. Like, they want to like express that part, and I think that's really awesome, and that brings out a lot of great costumers to the convention, because it's a cool place to like show off your sweet goods.
There were also cosplay gatherings too.
Yeah, those are super awesome.
Oh, do tell.
So they have different gatherings for just a group. Like the one I went to was the Ruby gathering.
Oh,
And
awesome.
they'll have like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But they just a group of people who love that genre or love that mythos,
Cosplayers,
and
characters from that, and
they all nerd out.
get together and take pictures of OTPs and
Of course. It wouldn't be a gathering without one.
exactly.
Okay. I had a thought, but I just lost it. Well, I will say though, I actually do agree with you, Jade. Or what was your other name?
Did he?
JD? D?
No, not Dean. No.
JD? JD?
JD. Yeah.
2 letters.
I got.
Thanks, Scrubs.
Yeah, think Scrubs.
Okay, gotcha. I gotta get used to that. So what you said earlier, I actually agree with you, Jay, that it's funny how you say it is like a dress code when it comes to cosplay and anime conventions, because it's specifically SAC anime as well. But it's funny because like I feel naked without a cosplay on when I'm walking around an anime convention, anime convention.
It just, I mean, to me, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm here, might as well.
Yeah. It feels so weird, but like, yeah, I definitely get that feeling. But yeah, definitely. Like, it's one thing that the one thing that in my opinion, like SAC anime's cosplayers they've been getting better over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still got a ways to go. But like they still come out. Like the Predator guys are, and the Alien guys are still coming out, and regardless of what you say, those costumes are pretty sick.
Yeah, I think the thing with SAC anime, because it's growing exponentially. I mean, like last winter, their attendee count was around 10,000. This summer, their attendee count was around 17,000,
17,000? Wow.
around there.
Wow.
So their attendance keeps growing, and I think more and more people are coming out, and because they are coming out to SAG Anime, they're not afraid to try cosplay, and they're not afraid to like go there and show off what they made, what they bought, dress up as their favorite character. But you still have the cosplayers there who come out, who have been there, like the OGs, who stay around, like the Predators and stuff like that.
Right, definitely. Interesting to hear that a guesstimation of 17,000 came to the SAC Anime.
Mm-hmm.
A big growth from 10,000 for sure.
Yeah.
My next question would be to you guys, like, I'm not sure if you were out during the night, but how was the nightlife at SAC Anime?
Well, I'm not a night person, so I don't tend to go out to any of the nightlife, but the hotel lobby about 1 a.m. was pretty crazy.
Oh, really?
Including 2 fire alarms and...
Do you want to tell a story?
Well, I mean, it's a funny story. At hotel lobby 1 a.m., we were out hanging out in the hotel lobby at like 12:30, 1 a.m. All of a sudden, this guy, like, he's like drunk or something. He like walks up and pulls the fire alarm and just like bolts out.
Are you serious? Just straight up, just like doesn't care.
He straight up just walked up to the fire alarm, pulled it, and like went about his merry way. Dean went off after him to apprehend him, essentially, and give back up to the security. Whatever heroes do. And so he's gone, and everyone's like, what's happening? The fire alarm's going off, and I'm just sitting down in the lobby talking to this guy, and this woman comes up, and she collapses.
Oh, what?
Right in front of me and this other guy, and she was there. She was at the hotel for another event, not SAC Anime. But she was super duper intoxicated, and
okay.
so like it was. I mean, the hotel staff was all busy dealing with this fire alarm.
Mm-hmm.
So like me and this guy were like, get her sit down, get her some water. I was, what's your name? What room are you staying in? Do you have your ID? Is anyone in your room? Can we take you back to your room? Are you okay? And, as intoxicated people do, oh, I'm fine. I don't need anything. Just get me another glass of wine. I'll be good. I'm here for my high school reunion. I mean, she was a really sweet lady, but it was very interesting.
How old was this woman?
Hopefully over 21.
She was here for her high school reunion, and she graduated in 2006. I got that from her.
Okay.
So she's my age then.
She seems a little bit older.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so ended up having to deal with that. And then after the whole fire alarm fiasco, we went back up to our room. And I was asleep, but I guess the fire alarm that night went off
again, yeah. Someone was smoking outside in the hallway, and the fire alarm went off.
So, Sheraton lobby nightlife is pretty crazy.
Wow. So, in a span of... Did this happen all one night?
This was all one night.
The 1 a.m. and the 3 a.m.
So, like a span of, 3 hours.
Wow. So, wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, people were pissed.
There was at that time it's called an electronic...
Late night electronic with a K dance.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to call it a rave.
It's
because
not technically a rave.
The police don't like that. So.
Yeah, it is a quote-unquote dance now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard it was fun. I never go, but...
It was too late. I was too busy chasing down bad guys, apparently, and I missed out on it.
Oh.
Yeah, my experience from previous ones is that they're fine. I mean, like they're nothing. I kind of feel like they're kind of like your nightlife dancing if you want to get your dance on, like every other anime convention may or may not have. That's cool. You know, it's
Yeah.
fine for what it
From
is.
from what I heard, the space, where was it? It was in the memorial.
I think it was in the
It was in the memorial, and because the floor space is so huge, I heard, I mean, like, from other people who went, that, like, towards the beginning, towards the end, it was kind of like a high school dance. Not much to meet to fill up the space.
I see.
One of those situations, but, towards, like, in the middle of the late night electronic dance, it was relatively happening.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it for sure. That's cool. Wow, they're really adamant not using that first floor for anything else but the dealer's hall.
That's pretty much it. And the Greek food festival. was
Oh,
also-
that was happening too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
You got
always
free
happens.
admission with your SAC anime badge.
Yeah, they changed that.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I remember, was it last time when I was there? It was happening at the same time. It was funny because like it was the Greek food festival was happening, and then also I think it was that same weekend was like the gardening festival was happening. Like on the same weekend.
Labor Day weekend is a very
Yeah, everything.
time for, I mean, like at the same time, a few blocks away there was Chalk It Up was happening.
Oh, awesome, sick.
Yeah, so there was like within, 5, 6 blocks, 7 blocks, you could do a lot.
Awesome. So there was no boring moment at any given time.
No.
There's always something to
There's
do.
literally like, I think especially this year, SAC Anime was so jam-packed with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were kind of like, okay, I have 3 days. How much stuff can I get done?
True, very true. So when the combination of like nerds, geeks, and cosplayers in one confined area combined with the quote unquote normies of like the people who are going there just for the Greek food festival, how that interaction like? Or did you manage to see any normies given that obligatory like, why is everybody in costumes?
It seemed normal because the Greek festival happens pretty much the same time almost every year.
At SAC Anime.
That it's like they're used to it by now. It's weird.
I did have this one guy come up when I was wearing my Jinx costume, and I have a giant Fishbones prop. He was like, "Oh, can I take a picture of you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." He was like, "Oh, so you're Super Shirt Girl?" And I was just like, "Sure, okay."
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's cool people come out and they like to participate in everyone's fandoms and stuff like that. There were a few problems at the convention with, like, sexual harassment and stuff like that throughout the con, pretty much. And I don't know if that was, like, con goers.
And theft.
And theft was a huge problem this year.
Yes, I did see. I remember seeing a post about it not too long ago, talking a lot about it. And yeah, like you guys were there. Like, how bad was the theft and the sexual harassment since you guys there in person?
The theft, we used to hang out a lot with Cafe Hoshi, and so we would hang out, stop by, say hi. Every time that we were there, someone else lost or something else was missing from a guest, pretty much. Every show. One of the maids at Cafe Hoshi had all of her stuff stolen.
That's bad.
Including all of her table decorations, all of her money, all of her tips, all of her phone, wallet, stuff like that. They found
everything except the bunny, I think.
They found everything except for her money, all the valuables, and the bunny.
Wow.
Who would steal a bunny?
Heartless people.
Yeah, theft was I mean, for all the SAC animes that I've been to, theft I've never really seen it be such a big deal. I think this con, it was just someone had some magic 5 fingers going on and was hitting everyone up. Like, it was pretty crazy.
They thought they were in Skyrim or something.
Yeah.
Wow. So it was that bad, huh? And then to attest to the sexual harassment, like how much of that was also going on at SAC Anime?
Well, I mean, none of it. I never actually experienced any of it. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Someone probably would have died.
Yes. Yes, they would have.
But a lot of what I heard from other people who go and being a part of the SAC Anime Facebook group, it was a pretty big problem, and a lot of people were really upset at the fact that it was such a growing problem. And, with the growing attendee count, going up to around 17,000 people, it's expected that it's going to be like a little bit crazier, and I don't think that they accounted for such a high attendance this year, and I don't think there was enough roaming staff and roaming security to handle these problems. And I kept hearing people say, like, oh, if anything happens to you, go to ConOps. Like that's like a thing, go to ConOps. I had no idea where ConOps even was.
Was there any indication from a map anywhere in the convention area that kind of showed this, or was it more or less like you kind of have to guess, like, I think it's in the Sheraton Hotel?
I didn't see it on the map. I'm kind of blind, though, so it might be in the map. I just overlooked it. But in previous SAC animes, I think last winter, they had, like, cosplay is not consent posters up. Those were totally missing from this convention. I don't know if they got lost on someone's storage unit or what have you, but they were gone, and I guess people just need posters to remind them not to touch other people. Because it was definitely a problem.
Yep. I've heard some horror stories on my end over the internet from SAC Anime. Yeah, it's not a good look, especially if a convention is growing for attendance.
Right.
Definitely an issue that, I mean, look, there's gonna be a case, one way or another. Not every con security is gonna be everywhere, have eyes everywhere. There's, it will bound to happen once in a while. But having those posters out, reminding people and then telling other people, like, hey, if you see this, stop it, don't let it happen. So it's definitely, it's it's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
there's no issue out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, those posters, I think, are super key for people who, I mean, like, I'm not in no way, like, excusing, like, oh, he touched someone and it was okay because he really just didn't know. No, that's not, don't do it. Just don't. Don't touch anyone. But I heard a story, I don't think it was at this SAC anime or at this con, but, I don't think it was at this con, but, someone's dressed up from Lollipop Chainsaw. And, slid under the girl's skirt. And he was like, oh, it's an achievement in the game. No.
Oh, wow.
Don't do it.
Right, it is an achievement in the game.
Yeah, it's an achievement in the
but
game.
It's not in real life.
This is not a game.
Yeah.
This is real life. So I think people just need, like, some people are kind of, like, not as smart in that area of their brain. And they just need red signs say, don't touch people. It helps.
Yeah, it really does. I think my friend put it best when it comes to these incidents or any other stupidity that happens at conventions is that some people, when they go to conventions, they completely turn off their brain and common sense and believe they can do anything. They think conventions are just like the internet.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way to put it. Like, makes sense. A convention is not the internet. You can't do anything without any repercussions. Like, it's going to affect someone. I mean, what you do on the internet affects people, but this is real life.
Yeah,
real life.
Yeah, as much memes as there are in any convention that happens in real life, this is not the...
This is not the place to do it.
Speaking of memes, for whatever reason, this is kind of an offshoot, but the Rick Rolling, John Cena, and what was the other one?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know almost everyone was saying it throughout the convention. Shia LaBeouf.
You can do. Wait, what is it? It's
Just do it.
Do it. Do it.
Everyone was saying that.
People wearing shirts. People were cosplaying as these things. I mean, for some reason, Rick Rolling was like playing over the convention like music.
Okay, well, I respect that. That's pretty funny.
Rick Rolling, yes. John Cena, not as much. Just my personal opinion.
So this basically was how much? Okay, so how much of this did you see throughout the entire convention? Was this like an ongoing thing, like every 5 minutes, or was it like every like hour or two this happens and whatnot?
I'd say more frequently than that. Every day, definitely something on all three of those.
I mean, the just do it though was all the time. Like someone would see someone wearing a shirt and someone else would like scream it and then like it would be like an echoing effect. Like everyone would just like repeat it for like a few seconds and then it would die down and then it would start up again. It was pretty, you know, like how every con has like a few things that like everyone does.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This was one of them.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, there's one thing I remember a friend of mine who went to Anime Boston, and like one of the things that was at least at the time when it was happening, like the one quote that everybody kept saying when they were bored, or like in a big line and they're bored, it's like butt scratcher, and like, start that whole thing going.
Yeah.
It was basically like that. That's a perfect example.
I see. Okay. Well, kind of to be expected at a convention, but at the same time,
Definitely you should expect it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been surprised if there was no one cosplaying Shia LaBeouf.
Good point. So I was curious if you guys did you manage to check out any other rooms at Sec Anime?
Let's see. We went to the Halo panel.
There was the Oron High School Dare.
I did go to that for a little while. That was actually pretty fun.
The panels that they have every year, like workshop panels, workshop cosplay stuff, like stuff like that. And then they have I don't know what the term for it is, but like attendee panels or cosplay panels in the sense that people dress up and it's like an Oron High School host club panel where they have all the main characters there and they're all in character. It's kind of like going to like Disneyland for anime.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So those are always very interesting, especially when you have amazing cosplayers with amazing acting skills acting out your favorite OTP.
Let's see. We went to Liam O'Brien, his panel.
Yeah, his Q&A.
People may know him as Illidan, I guess, is one of his most popular ones.
Or Vaxil Dom from Critical Role.
Well, I think one of my favorite things to do during SAC Anime is chilling with the voice actors. Have you ever been to one of those?
No, explain. I'm curious.
So, there's a guy who works in the staff. I believe his name is Jeff Burns. Mm-hmm. He basically recruits voice actors that attend, mm-hmm. and he gets them all together to do a radio play, a 1930s radio play, and he gives them all parts, and then they just kind of have fun with the entire script, and it's really amazing. You could YouTube a few of them. I don't know if they got the latest one, but it's pretty freaking hilarious.
Yeah, they're always pretty funny.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, and these are voice actors that were not as well known, but like kind of like that would just kind of happen to be voice actors at the convention, but just.
Usually it's like the main people. Like the last one we went to was it was Matthew Mercer, Richard Epcar.
His wife. His wife was there, right?
His wife was there. I can't remember her name. And a lot of big ones. Pappenbrook was there.
Yeah, Pappenbrook was there.
But this one was a lot of newer people. You had Winnie the Pooh, Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, and then you had a lot of newer people. The cast of Ald Noah, I believe it's called Ald Noah Zero or something like that. Now a lot of new people. A 17-year-old.
Wasn't he the one the Anime Expo?
Yeah, he won the AX voice acting thing they had there.
Oh, cool.
And so he was there, and they killed it. It was amazing.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. What is the title of this panel again called? For those
It's
who want to check up on YouTube.
it's called Chillin' with the Voice Actors.
Okay. If anybody has a video of that up, I'm pretty sure it's up on YouTube. If not, then well, you missed out.
Get to it.
So I'm trying to think what else. In terms of the atmosphere there, like what was the general feeling amongst con goers there? I'm assuming that a good majority of them were having fun, but like what was the general atmosphere there at the convention itself?
Nerdy.
Definitely, I'm gonna say nerdy was one of them. To me, actually, this might be a surprise. The otaku funk wasn't as prominent this con.
Oh, really?
The general odor of a convention wasn't as strong, so that was cool.
It happened to be a lot. The temperature was a lot
helped the
cooler.
atmosphere be a lot nicer. But I just think it depends where you were. It was so busy all the time that there was a lot of stuff going on all at once. Kind of like being in a theme park. You have some kids throwing tantrums and you have some having the best times of their life. It really just depended. But I think the overall general atmosphere was just kind of like any SAC anime. I think there was a little bit more tension because the staff was a little bit tighter. In the sense like they were harder on wristbands and badges and stuff, and that always kind of pisses people off.
Right.
I can't get into the convention because I didn't pay for it. They're not going to let me in.
Right. Speaking of the attendance of SAC Anime, so because there was such a bigger influx of people coming in this year, how was the space-wise for SAC Anime? Were there at points where you were going through the convention and it was just too crowded in some areas, or was it like you were able to kind of walk anywhere in the convention area, including the Sheraton Hotel and also the other building? I forgot the name of it.
The Hyatt?
Yeah. So, how was the crowding in SAC Anime this year?
I'd say because of the expansion, it was a lot smoother. Although Saturday
Was pretty crazy.
the third floor where a lot of people just kind of hang out was extremely crowded.
Why the third floor?
Where all the panels and pretty much everything, the ballroom dance workshops, Cafe Hoshi's there.
The bathrooms.
The bathrooms are also there. An exit to the balcony where they
The
hold
balcony.
the cosplay gatherings is there. They have this cool new booth serving takoyaki there, which was super popular.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a happening place. Me being 5 feet tall, always difficult to go anywhere in a crowd. But I think because of the way that they laid out the convention and used the space, I think it could have been a lot worse.
Good.
Yeah, so like the expansion of the vendors hall, I think not only did it allow for like a lot more artists and vendors, but also wider hallways in between.
Yes, very much so.
And that was awesome.
And they even had extra area in the vendors' place for autographs. You had a few of the original Power Rangers.
Yeah. Actually, they had like 2 Power Ranger reunions or something like that happening.
Nice.
And Bud Bundy was there.
No way, was he really?
Yes.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It was pretty cool.
Okay. All right, it's interesting to hear because I've like in my past 10 years of covering the convention when I did back then, there were some war stories of going through the hallways of SAC Anime, not only in this convention but like the previous 2 that I went to, where it was just so crowded that it was standstill.
That happens definitely, I think, in the hotels more.
Yeah. How? For this one, how exactly did that happen?
I think I mean, the only place I really experienced a lot of, like, super duper crazy intense crowds was either waiting for the elevator or walking across the street from the hotel to the convention. So it's just like stuff like that, like exits, entrances, places where people usually crowd and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think it was terribly bad, but
right, and it's always a given on the last day of the convention that everybody's checking out the hotel room, and that elevator is just packed.
Yeah, Sunday. Sunday is usually a slower day, but Sunday was pretty happening this year too. So.
Oh, that reminds me. I think this is relatively new, so hopefully I don't sound like an idiot when I say this, but the Sheraton put in a device that for the parking, if you want to leave and not have to pay extra, and so you can come back, you could just swipe your card and leave.
Yeah, they had like in and out parking this year. The Sheraton actually did a really good job accommodating the convention. They had this whole like show your badge policy, so you got all like 15% on all the hotel restaurants, subtracting
I love
minus room service. I mean, you didn't get that on room service, but you go down to any of the hotel restaurants, 15% off when you show your badge, and then had a bunch of other stuff too. That was just really great of them to do. Like it was very, very cool.
Awesome. Did that apply to like other nearby food chains around?
Just the hotel.
Just the hotel. Okay.
Hopefully soon they will expand it to all of Sacramento. But no, it was just the hotel, but still that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I love that. I always enjoy that. If hotel people are like digging the convention scene and like enjoying the people there rather than going there get charge them for their money and have them leave as soon as they can. I enjoy the fact that they're having fun as well as the attendees.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Hopefully they will do the same next year with all the hotel fiascos that they endured, fire alarms and all.
That's true. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be nice enough to offer those same discounts and stuff like that to Sac Anime again, because I think it really made everything. And I think if you book your hotel room through the convention, I think Sac Winter for the Sheraton's already sold out. But if you did this summer Sac Anime, parking was discounted as well if you booked it through the convention.
Oh, awesome.
So that's also pretty cool. So,
good stuff.
But like I said, hotels sell out super fast, and I think Sheraton's already sold out for winter, for sure. And the Hyatt ends their promo Sac Anime, booking through the hotel, booking through their Sac Anime website. I think one of like the deals, like the $2 VIP badge, that ends on tomorrow.
Oh, wow. So by the time you're listening to this podcast, it's already...
This will all be passé.
Yes, it'll be already
I hope
over.
you got this. Because if you didn't, I'm sorry I'm telling you about it now.
So then my last question for both of you guys is like just overall thoughts on Sac Anime. What you think Sac Anime did good, bad, what they could have done in the future, and so on. So I'll leave the floor to one of you guys to start off with.
I'd go again. I think it was better than the last one, at least the way it was run. And with the new expansions, it made everything so much smoother, user-friendly. So I recommend it.
I have to politely disagree with you on some of those points.
Okay.
I think Sac Anime has been run a little bit better in the past. Not like run better, but I think that actually, scratch that whole last statement. I think they need to accommodate for the size of the convention with their amount of volunteers and security. Not that saying it wasn't run badly. It was run fantastic. I loved all of the events. I loved it. It was a great con. I just think that security and volunteers need to maybe increase in a few, maybe like 10, 20 more, just so there's a little bit more roaming staff. This year they did have roaming peace bonders, which was super cool because they don't have to go and get your weapons peace bonded. You can just find someone in a yellow shirt and they'll do it for you. But I think that they should bring back some cosplays not consent signs and stuff like that. I think that the convention was run really well. I just think there are certain factors that could have been adjusted to account for size and people's misbehaviors.
But would you agree it was better than last one?
No.
No?
I like last one a little bit better.
That's because Matthew Mercer was there.
That's why. He should go to every single convention, just like Johnny on Bosch.
So if you want to vote of confidence from JD, that's what you got to do, SAG Anime.
You have to be Matthew Mercer, essentially.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for this podcast. I'd like to thank JD and Dean for joining me to talk everything SAG Anime.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be at the next SAG Anime.
So before we end the show, Dean, where can I find you on the internet if you are on the internet somehow?
How to find me on
Twitter.
Yeah, I have a Twitter, Voice of Dean. I'm trying to get into voice acting. That's one of the reasons why I go to a lot of the conventions is just to see all the voice actors and try to be them, basically.
Be Matthew Mercer.
Oh God. But, yeah, you can find me at Voice of Dean on Twitter.
I can imagine just one day, it's just like he goes up to Mercer and just like, there can only be one.
I would pay to see that. I would pay to eat popcorn.
You would.
I really would, as long as there's Jello involved. Somewhere.
JD, where can I find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter at JD Cosplay. That's JD, the letters, cosplay. And I'm also on the super cool new app called Cosplay Amino. Same handle, JD Cosplay.
Awesome. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Naruto. You can follow the work that me and JD do on our website at missionstartpodcast.com. You can follow this podcast on our website as well as on iTunes and Stitcher. And yeah, future conventions that it's on the. Let's see, in terms of convention podcasts, there'll be some more upcoming for sure. In terms of upcoming conventions, at least for me, by the time you listen to this, probably already passed, but I will be at YaoiCon this weekend, and then the following weekend I'll be at TwitchCon.
You can go.
You'll do well there.
Yes, join me. So we can look up at hot men all weekend.
No, I'm good.
Why don't you go?